Hi everyone, it's Charity from the Scrap Fair, and I have a tutorial that I promised to share with someone today. I did not come up with this making of this rose on my own, but I watched a few other YouTube videos and someone asked me to do one, so here it is. This is just a 5-petal cut that I made on my Cricut using the Paisley cartridge, but this exact same shape. EK Success makes two different sized flower punches. They're called the retro flower punches. I know they're available on Amazon and probably still in your local craft store because flowers are very popular as embellishments. Um, I I use I like to use at least 6 petal punches to make my roses. You can use more. The least amount you can use to make a cute rose is 5. And this paper that I'm working with here is basil cardstock, and I do not recommend basil cardstock for the making of the roses. If you use the basil, you'll want to use some water to dampen the petals a little bit before you start. I had never tried to use the basil making these before, but I had bought a big pack of it on sale at Big Lots for like $5, and I was making flowers for swap, so I started with the basil. I wound up using some other cardstock that I had on hand. I'm using the zip dry paper glue because I'm going to be mailing these flowers out. I normally use hot glue, but I was just afraid because it's summertime and I live in the South that it would get too hot, and they're also being shipped to North Carolina, which is hot there too, so I was just afraid to use hot glue together. So you start in the middle. You're starting with the bud of the rose, which is in the middle, and I put the glue on the same side of each petal. This is really difficult to do while showing to the camera, so you're going to see me drop it a little bit, and then I'll show you how to get it started, and then I will put it down on the table to punch it all together. And like I said, American Crafts cardstock would be great for this project. A lot of, just the Recollections cardstock from Michaels is really good. The basil is just a little bit too thick to manipulate easily enough. But also you don't need to worry about, I usually use this little hot glue gun by Imaginis that I got. It's battery powered and I really like it. I keep it in my scrap tool bag that I carry to crops and stuff. But I am using the zip dry because I'm shipping these flowers and it's summertime and it's really hot. You want the bottom to be flat when you crumple your little center together, and I'm trying to show you how to offset the petals where the little hole is, where there's a between the space. That's where you want your next petal to fold over, and I'll show you in just a little while with 2 flat flowers because I thought maybe it was easier to look at, because I've shown a couple of people how to do this in person, and everybody doesn't know what offset the petals mean, and you might, and that's great. This is just, for tutorial purposes so everybody knows what offsetting the petals means. And I really just scrunch it together. I don't know if you know what scrunch means because I'm from the South again, but I just smush it. I don't worry about bending the paper extra. I mean, a flower is much softer than paper in real life, and flowers aren't perfect. I mean, even when you see one that's perfect, it doesn't look like somebody cut it out with a cookie cutter. They all look just a little bit different. And my favorite thing to use to kind of start shaping the petals and to finish shaping the petals is, in fact, a paintbrush, the end of a paintbrush. But you can use anything that you like. I think a pencil is too big for the size petals I have here. I know the EK Success punches come in a medium and a large. I'm not sure if Stampin' Up! Still sells them, but I believe that Stampin' Up! Used to sell the retro flower punch. So if you have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator that you use a lot, you may ask her or him if they still sell the retro flower punch. But I do know you can still get it at your local big box craft stores because I've seen it in my Michaels just recently. I don't know if they have both sizes, but I did check on Amazon, and you can order them, and I believe they were both less than $10. which is really good. But like I said, I used my Cricut to cut it out. I use my Gypsy. I have 2 layers of mats with these petals all laid out in different sizes because I like to make the roses in different sizes, and I also like to mix the size of my petals sometimes in the roses because, as you'll notice, as you layer and layer, it gets harder and harder to fold it over the edge if you're using the small one. So sometimes I put a really big one on the bottom. Like I'll have 5 small flowers and then 1 big one, and that'll be my outside row of petals, which is what I think I'm doing here. I can't remember. I recorded this a couple of days ago and just haven't been able to get it ready to upload, so sorry about that. I have been trying to get it done. So I'm going to offset this again, and I'm pressing really hard down on the top. Like I said, this basil is some really, I love basil cardstock. Specifically, I love it for die cutting. When I'm going to be using a flatter shape, it distresses really well. It's just, for bending these petals. I personally don't recommend it. And I didn't want to use water because I'm using a glue that doesn't stick as, dry as quickly. If you had that Scotch Quick Dry glue, you might have a little better luck. Also, it's a lot easier to make one when you're not trying to make it for the camera. Now, this is what it looks like when you have all the petals together. So apparently this is, oh yeah, it was. You can tell that I used the larger of the petals on the bottom. And that's what it looks like after you fold all the petals out. And this one I'm going to glimmer mist with some yellow glimmer mist. I think I forgot to show you something, so I'm about to make another one that's going to show you the better of the folding, but I want to show you how it's not delicate. This wasn't completely dry when I glimmer misted it, which it should have been. Sorry guys, I need to get some water. But you can see I'm just smushing it, and I'm pushing pretty firmly on those petals to get them all smushed up in the way I want them. And I'm not being really careful. I'm just kind of poking at it until I'm happy with the way it looks. And as soon as I'm happy with the way it looks, I'm going to leave it alone. And when it dries, it'll dry pretty much the way I've left it. And that was a new color of glimmer mist that I just got. It's a new yellow. I can't remember what it's... Oh, it's called Marigold. Here's another one where all the flower petals are the same size, and this one I got a little better look at how to bend the petals back. And like I said, this basil is very stiff and not as easy as I normally... it doesn't bend as easy as the cardstock I normally use, which the cardstock I normally use was given to me, and it was Stampin' Up! Cardstock, but it's older, like someone gave it to me years and years ago, so I don't know if it's the same thickness as their cardstock now. It's very similar to American Crafts cardstock, which I think would make terrific roses. And you can make this in pattern paper. It looks great in pattern paper. I've made several of them in pattern paper, and I've also used watercolor paper. I don't know if you've noticed, when I'm bending these back, I'm bending one row in one direction and the other row in the opposite direction. That gives it a lot more realistic look. If you want a realistic looking rose, you can just roll them all backwards, straight down the middle, but it really gives it, and these are extremely dimensional flowers, so you have to want dimension on your project. And I have a friend who says, wow, that's a lot of work to go through, but if you need a specific color, or you want a super dimensional rose, or if you don't have any Prima or Wild Orchid Crafts or something sitting in your stash in the size that you need, I mean, just cut one out and make it. It's a little bit of work. It's a whole lot faster for me to do when I'm not on camera, and if I'm not really inspired to make a specific craft, then this is what I like to do. This is what I fill my downtime with. If you do them in the watercolor paper, they do take a long time to dry out if you missed them, but they look fantastic. This is one I'm really happy with. I'm not going to, oh, I am going to mist this one, and this is with Marshmallow Glimmer Mist, and it looks really, really pretty when it's dry. You'll see it. I'm going to show you a bunch of dry ones that I made after the glue was dry and everything, and here they are. I just made all these on my lunch break one day. And that's the first one that I made after it dried. And that's the other one with Glimmer Mist.